USB-C took over because the old cable mess stopped making sense. That is the proof. One port now shows up on phones, laptops, tablets, headphones, SSDs, docks, monitors, and chargers. So this was not a design trend. It was a cleanup. For years, devices used different ports for different jobs. USB-A for basic connections, micro USB for small devices, Lightning inside Apple's world, barrel plugs for power, HDMI for video. USB-C started replacing all of them because it could do more with less. That is the first reason it won. One small port can handle charging, data, and video. Older ports usually had one main job. USB-C could cover several. So manufacturers no longer needed one hole for power, another for files, and another for display output. They could simplify the device and still do more with it. That made USB-C perfect for modern hardware. Devices were getting thinner. People wanted fewer cables. Brands wanted fewer accessories, fewer support problems, and cleaner product design. USB-C helped all three. Then came the second reason it won. It was reversible. That sounds minor until you remember how bad the old experience was. USB-A always seemed to go in wrong the first time. Micro USB was worse. Small, awkward, easy to wear out. USB-C removed that friction instantly. No flipping, no guessing. Just plug it in. That matters because standards do not win only by being powerful. They win by being easier to live with every day. But USB-C did not take over just because it was better. It took over because it worked for almost everyone. Phone makers could use it for charging and file transfer. Laptop makers could use it for charging, storage, docks, and monitors. Accessory brands could build around one connector instead of several. So even when products were different, the port could stay the same. That is the hidden advantage. USB-C is not one single feature. It is one connector that can support many roles. And that created the trade-off. Because the port looks the same everywhere, people assume it works the same everywhere. It does not. One USB-C cable may only charge. Another may move files faster. Another may connect to a monitor. Another may do all three. So USB-C fixed the port problem, but created a cable confusion problem. Simple on the outside, messy on the inside. Then the system pushed it even harder. Once laptops, Android phones, chargers, docks, SSDs, and accessories all started using USB-C, the market began locking in. Cables were easier to reuse. Chargers were easier to share. People started expecting the same port on every new device. Then regulation added even more pressure. When the EU pushed USB-C as the common charging standard for many devices, one of the last big reasons to stay different got weaker. And when the iPhone switched to USB-C, the change stopped feeling partial. It felt finished. That is why USB-C took over everything. Not because every cable is equal, not because every version is perfect, but because it was the first connector simple enough for everyday use and flexible enough for almost the whole industry. So when you see USB-C, you are not just looking at a charger port. You are looking at the winner of a very messy hardware war. If you want more small things with big reasons, subscribe.